Did I ever tell you how lucky you are? When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget, at least while I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh ever so much more, oh muchly, much more unlucky than you. Be glad you don't work on the Bungo Bung Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people, you're lucky or not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Guyzat. You got caught in that traffic on Highway 8. Or suppose, just for an instance, you lived in Gazaire with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. Suppose, just suppose, you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombambulator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gick or the gore fits into the scruck or the snucks or the snore. Yes, ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombambulator apart. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Ollie Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quick-growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it, and all that his stingy uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay
Jacob,
is
where's
the
Dad?
pitifulest pay of
Jake.
2 ducats a day, and Ollie can't live on such pitiless pay. So he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays and grooves. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix, every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his Borfin to fix. It doesn't seem fair, it doesn't seem right, but his Borfin just seems to go schlump every night. It schlumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Mix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unschlump it, and then the night air comes back and it schlumps once again. So don't you feel blue. Don't get down in the dumps. You're luckily you don't have a Borfin that schlumps. And while we are at it, consider the schlots, the crumple-horn, web-footed, green-bearded schlots, whose tail is entailed with unsolvable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse than you, I'll eat my umbrella. That's just what I'll do. And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of saddle held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter T. Crosser-Eye Dotter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's, in an eye and teeth factory out in Van Nuys. Oh, the jobs people work at out west near Hotch. There's a Hotch-Hotcher bee-watcher, his job is to watch, is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee, a bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder, not much. So then somebody said, our old bee-watching man just isn't bee-watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another Hotch-Hotcher. The thing that we need is a bee-watcher. Well, the bee-watcher watched the bee-watcher. He didn't watch well, so another Hotch-Hotcher had to come in as a watcher. And today all the Hotchers who live in Hotch-Hotch are watching on watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a Hotch-Watcher, you're lucky, you see. And now fortunate you're not Professor DeBreeze, who has spent his past 32 years, if you please, trying